Good afternoon, Miss Bridgewater. Hope you're well this afternoon.
I am, Your Honor. I hope you are as well too.
I am, thank you. The SAP reset date?
I have it, Your Honor, as July 7th. Are you aware that we're changing to 4 days a week?
Yes, I am. So that might be, so July 7th.
Well, actually, it's probably going to be the 8th. Well, we're having it Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays now. Is that
Okay,
so? The 7th will be the Monday.
okay, very good. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
Afternoon, Miss Falk.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. And thank you for addressing that order.
Yes, so one less for tomorrow, I take it.
Yes.
Afternoon, courtroom two.
Good afternoon, Judge. You're ready whenever you are.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney, we're providing you with the assistance of a public defender or conflict defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Who do we have first today?
Start position 2, Ms. Billingsley.
Good afternoon, Ms. Billingsley. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003463B with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Ms. Hardy, good afternoon. Is there a history?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The last arrest was March 14th, 2024 out of Fayette County for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. That is their only arrest cycle. And they appeared to have a hold out of Peachtree City for an FTA, and the date of that warrant is March 19th, 2025. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened June 21st of 2025. The defendant and Joseph Mills were at 1762 Avon Avenue, Southwest in Atlanta. They went to a music bar and were drinking. And when they got home, the defendant became upset and struck Mr. Mills with an open hand and then a closed fist. Mr. Mills told police he had ringing in his ears and a top part of his face was visibly bruised, according to the officers in the warrant. They have lived together for approximately 1 year. The defendant claimed that Mr. Mills had fallen, but the officers did see that her hands were swollen. We did have an opportunity to speak with Mr. Mills. He stated that the incident information in the report and the warrant are correct. He is currently filing a TPO in Superior Court. He is okay with the defendant having a one-time police escort to retrieve their items and stated he will not be in attendance, being that he is filing that TPO at this moment. We are agreeable to a signature bond through pretrial services due to her lack of history, but we are requesting a stay away from 1762 Avon Avenue, Southwest in Atlanta. We're agreeable to a one-time police escort, no further contact with Joseph Mills, 2 days of anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no firearms. And due to the fact that this was aggravated by alcohol, we are asking for random screens. We would like to sound for Mr. Joseph Mills out of an abundance of caution. That's all for the state.
Mr. Mills is on the line, wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Good afternoon, Mr. Chataya.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. No objection to the state's recommendations. I just wanted to add that my client is 32 years old. She's lived in Atlanta for the past year. In terms of her family, she has her parents, children, fiance here in the Atlanta area. Specifically, her parents are in Fairburn. She has some college under her belt. She studied nursing for a bit. And she tells me that she's a stay-at-home mom and occasionally she donates plasma for money. Or not for money. If it's a donation, it's not for money. She has two children she provides for. They are 9 and 10 years old, respectively. And she also tells me that she's on food stamps and Medicaid. For those reasons, we encourage the court to go with the state's recommendation of a signature bond. Now, in terms of the stay away order, my client would like to object to the stay away order and ask for no further violent contact instead. But she also told me that she would have somewhere else to stay if told to stay away. So, preference is to not have a stay away order. But if it comes to that, then she would be able to go somewhere else.
All right, for the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. With a simple battery, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Mills, stay away from the Avon Avenue address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Billingsley.
Next is position 3, Ms. Bradshaw.
Apologies, Your Honor. Can you give that breakdown one more time? I know you said 2,000 on the family violence battery. What was the simple battery?
1,000 for a
Okay.
total of 3,000.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Good afternoon, Ms. Bradshaw. You have been charged. Good afternoon, ma'am. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003464F with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was December 30th, 2019 out of Tallapoosa County, Alabama. It says for liquor offense, and that's their only arrest cycle, nothing further.
You, Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened March 20th of 2025. Shaquilla Bradshaw told the defendant, her wife, that she wanted a divorce. The defendant began flipping things throughout the house, turning over chairs, sofas, and disrupting other things in the home. The defendant then tried to leave the residence. Ms. Bradshaw stated she put up her hands to stop her because she didn't want the defendant to drive away mad. The defendant then struck Ms. Bradshaw in the right side of her neck and burned her right shoulder with the lit end of a marijuana cigarette. The officers did see a burn mark, and they also observed that the living room and bedroom were in disarray, corresponding with the information that Ms. Bradshaw had provided. As you've heard, this is her second arrest. Based on that, we are agreeable to an SOB through pretrial services. We are asking, because obviously marijuana use is involved in this case, an ADET along with random screens, 2-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no firearms, no further contact with Shaquilla Bradshaw, and stay away from 4203 Crest Ridge Drive in East Point. We would at this time like to sound for Shaquilla Bradshaw, and that's all for the state.
If Ms. Shaquilla Bradshaw is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Mr. Chataya?
Thank you, Your Honor. No objection to the state's recommendation for a signature bond. Now, in terms of her address, I believe her address is, Ms. Bradshaw's address is 4204 Crest Ridge Drive in East Point. I may be mistaken about that. But she did tell me that she no longer lives with Shaquilla Bradshaw. She's not in the same residence as her anymore. So I would object to the stay away for that reason.
Okay, would you mind asking your client to clarify 4203 or 4204? Is that fine, Mr. Chataya?
Yes, that's fine. Ms. Bradshaw?
4204, and it is correct.
Okay.
The person, she doesn't live in the residence anymore.
All right, then if it's a stay away from 4203, then I don't have an objection.
Your Honor,
Okay.
let me just double check and make sure. I had 4203, but let me just double check. Or we could just simply put stay away from the residence of Miss Shaquilla Bradshaw.
Why don't we do that? So just to be safe. Okay, if nothing further for the battery, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the simple battery, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Miss Shaquilla Bradshaw. Stay away from Miss Shaquilla Bradshaw's residential address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Next is position 19, Ms. Lusk.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lust. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003459G with simple assault and simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This is the first adult arrest.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Harrison.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 19th at approximately 6:00 p.m. at 750 Glenwood Avenue Southeast. The defendant was on scene attempting to seek medical attention from the outpatient facility. And she wanted to go to a specific facility and exited the facility she was in, walking away toward the side of the building. When she was approached by the victim here, Ms. Ariana Carbino, who advised her that she was making a phone call to assist the defendant actually with her wishes about treatment. And the defendant began yelling at her, asking her who she was calling and what she was talking about regarding her, and became agitated and began chasing Miss Cardino through the parking lot, trying to strike her in the head from behind. Shortly after that, Miss Carbino ran. While she was running from the defendant, she ran through metal doors entering the building. And at that time, our second victim, Miss Jency Beard, was standing at the door, attempting to block the defendant from entering. And in doing so, the defendant became further agitated and slammed Miss Beard's arm in the metal door, causing abrasions. Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond. We're asking for no further violent contact with Ms. Carbino or Ms. Beard, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, a social worker visit, and for the defendant to comply with all medication and treatment directives that she's given. And we would like to sound from Ms. Beard or Ms. Carbino today in case they've joined us in court. That'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
If Ms. Carbino or Ms. Beard are with us and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Tucker, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Miss Lust is 22 years of age. She is in Atlanta, currently residing at Revlar, I believe the name of the mental health facility she's currently at, receiving treatment. At this, her education level goes up to high school. She's completed high school. She's not currently employed at the treatment facility. They have to approve your ability to work. She hasn't been approved for that yet. And she is on several different medications for her different diagnoses. We have no objections to no further violent contact with the alleged victims and are requesting a signature bond on behalf of Ms. Lust.
For each charge will be a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with either of the alleged victims. Stay medication compliant. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Next is position 21, Ms. Ogletree.
Good afternoon, Ms. Ogletree. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003471E with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor. The last arrest was June the 2nd, 2022. out of Fulton County for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm. That case was null pros. They have 39 total arrest cycles, felony conviction, 2 felony convictions outside the last 10-year period. There's a 2017 theft by shoplifting misdemeanor conviction, 2017 disorderly conduct, 2020 theft by shoplifting. Nothing further to report.
Afternoon, Mr. Sirocco.
Good afternoon, Judge. This incident took place June 22nd, so yesterday, at 2255 Dodson Drive in East Point. Law enforcement responded to a demented person call. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the defendant, first Miss Ogletree, who alleged that the victim, Bridget Ritchie, had stolen money from her. The defendant had entered on Miss Ritchie's property at that location after having previously been criminally trespassed. After identifying the defendant, it was determined that she was wanted out of East Point and had a criminal trespass warning issued for the aforementioned address related to previous cases. The defendant was placed under arrest at that time. She has it's an open criminal trespass and damage to property in the second that is involving the same victim here, same property here. She's accused of smashing Miss Ritchie's bedroom window with a brick. This was just 2 days before the incident. We have spoken with Miss Ritchie, who explained that the information on the warrant is correct. That location is her home address. The defendant is actually her cousin. She stated that the defendant threatens to blow up her house, that the defendant has a drug problem, that the defendant claims that her husband is living with the victim, but that defendant's husband is deceased. She explains that the defendant continues to harass her in front of her grandchildren, that the police have been called on several occasions, and that she doesn't want the defendant coming to her home, which she continues to do. So she's asking for a stay away, no further contact. And she confirmed as well that, that previous case is her where she threw that brick, and that she currently has a court date set for tomorrow for a TPO hearing against the defendant. She is in fear of the defendant, who causes her anxiety attacks. Clearly a risk of reoffense here, given the context of this case and the open case against the same victim. So the state is asking for a $2,000 surety, no further contact with Bridget Ritchie, stay away from 2255 Dodson Drive in East Point, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and we would ask the court sound for the victim.
Ms. Ritchie, I see you on the line with us. If you choose to address the court, now is your opportunity. You certainly don't have to, but if you wish to, I'll need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, ma'am. Yes. Can you activate your camera for me?
Activate my camera.
How do you operate the camera though?
I don't know. Can you do it? I'm sending a prompt. Do you see the prompt on there that allows you to start the video?
Okay, there you go, Ms. Ritchie. Now you have to unmute yourself for me. Thank you, Ms. Strong. Oh, you have to unmute yourself if you want me to hear you, Ms. Ritchie.
Hello?
Okay, you can only be on one device at a time.
Okay, he said, okay, I can only have on one device at a time. Which one do you want on?
Okay, well, you've got one muted, so raise your right hand.
Okay, got it.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Am I right now? Okay.
Okay, raise your right hand for me, Ms. Ritchie. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Yes, ma'am. You can place your hand down. Thank you. What would you like to tell the court?
I would like to tell the court that she has been harassing me since January. And I don't know how much more I can take from her. She's come to my house on
through ever since January, she's been coming back and forth to my house because she lives right up the street from me. She moved up the street from me, Your Honor. I don't know, just to harass me or what, but they came and gave her a criminal trespassing warning. Since they given that to her, she has been over here at least 6 or 7 times since they given her that warning. And I have to call them back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Well, she came to my house Thursday morning, and she threw a brick through my bedroom window that caused glass all in my room now. And I don't know how I'm gonna get it out of there, but she busted my window, and I'm glad I wasn't in there, or my grandchildren. She is insinuating that that her husband is standing here and that I am getting his pension money. I don't even know her husband like that. I have a husband, 15 years of marriage. I've been with my husband. I don't know what she's talking about. She's on drugs. She's hallucinating. And she's just talking crazy about killing me. When she came to my house on yesterday, she got out of her car with a weapon, a gun or a knife. I can see it's shiny object. She said she was going to kill me. And my husband had to come. She got a stick and told her to go back. Well, I came in the house and called the police, and that's how they caught her on my property. She's saying that she's going to kill me, Your Honor. I am in fear of my life. I can't sleep. She's causing me. I suffer with anxiety. She's causing my health problem to go down very bad. She does it. I'm in fear for my grandchildren because I don't know. They go outside and play when they come over here. I don't know what she might come and do to my grandchildren because she is not going by the criminal trespassing. It's like she's saying, if the police or what, she's not listening to what nobody says. She says that she wants me dead. She wants me out of this house because this is her house. She says that this is her house. So she has it in for me. She's not going to stop, Your Honor, until she comes in contact with me. I am in fear of my life, and I don't want her to really get out of there. I know that you all can't hold her, but I know that she's going to come back. She's coming back, Your Honor. She's coming back to my house. She's coming back. Okay. And I have done nothing to her. She's coming back. So if any kind of way that you all could send her for some help or, and keep her away from me. I just want her to leave me alone. And I'm in fear for my family because I don't know what she may do. Yeah, I don't know what she may do.
Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Ritchie.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Courtroom 2, if you'll unmute yourself for me. Is this Mr. McLean's case?
Yes, Your Honor. I think it sounds like we should go on non-streaming.
I don't think that we need to go on non-streaming as of yet. I'm going to order that she gets as assessed for an MHET. I think that would be appropriate in this case. Anything further you'd like to tell the court?
Let me say, Your Honor, that she is 39. She has 11th grade education, and she works.
52 years old.
I'm sorry, I've got the wrong. I put down the wrong.
I keep telling y'all.
I read the wrong number. It's not 39. That's correct. I looked at the wrong circled number. Your Honor, she is 62 years old. She is 11th grade education. Has 11th grade education. Had her own ice cream business. Worked in the post office for 11 years. We would ask for an appropriate bond, a signature bond, if that is possible, and we'll get that social work visit done for the mental health aspect. Thank you.
Will be a $2,000 good bond, a social worker visit to assess for an MHET, no further contact with Ms. Ritchie, stay away from her address, the Dobson Drive address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I will see her back at the SAP calendar on July 7th. If you will have the social worker report to me at that time, what direction we need to go with Ms. Ogletree. Thank you.
Okay, Your Honor, thank you. Our social worker is here, so please.
Okay, thank you. Who do we have next?
Next is position 30, Mr. Williams.
Is this Devon Williams? Williams, We had several Williams. I've not talked.
No, he's comfortable. Mr. McLeod talking.
This is
Okay.
Irving Williams. Have you spoken with him, Mr. McLean?
I have not, and maybe Ms. McLeod is his lawyer, if he is the conflict Williams. We had something like 2 or 3 Williams today.
Okay. Irving Lamar Williams, position number 30. Let's see. I saw Miss McLeod on earlier. I don't see her right now. So if this is Miss
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm here.
Good afternoon. Is Irving Williams your client?
He is, Your Honor.
And you've had the opportunity to speak with him?
I have.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003480C with battery family violence and 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was June the 6th, 1980 out of Atlanta for criminal trespass, and that's their only arrest cycle, nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Sirocco?
Thank you, Judge. This incident took place June 19th of this year at 2840 Norman Berry Drive in East Point. It's an apartment complex. Law enforcement responded to that complex in response to a report of a physical altercation between a man and a woman, still in progress. Dispatch explained that both parties were driving around the apartment complex in separate vehicles, one following another. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the victim in this case, Miss Tina Robinson, at the front entrance, who explained that the defendant, her boyfriend, who has been living with her for over a year, had attacked her. This dispute happened when the defendant got upset that she had left the apartment and returned late. During that argument, the defendant punched Miss Robinson in the face with a closed fist, pulled her hair, threw her to the ground while inside the residence. After the attack, Miss Robinson tried to leave the apartment, and the defendant then proceeded to pursue her in his vehicle. The officer observed visible injuries on Miss Robinson, bruising and swelling on her lower lip, which she explained were from the defendant punching her in the face. He admitted to restraining Miss Robinson when police spoke to him, but claims she was trying to attack him. He denied punching her despite the visible injuries to her face. Based on the physical evidence, statements, and the officer's observations, the defendant was identified as the aggressor here and was arrested. We've spoken with the victim, Miss Robinson. I believe the reason for the conflict is that she works in the public defender's office as a clerk. She states that she has been in a relationship with the defendant for over 4 years now, living together for 1 year, confirmed that. She explains that the defendant has recently become violent. She had a couple of drinks and she's not sure what the defendant was drinking, but she stated that the defendant is verbally abusive, that she confirmed the events on the warrant, and she wants the defendant to move out. She doesn't want us to proceed with the charges, but she recommends a stay away, no further contacts nonetheless. She explained that the defendant is controlling. She is in fear of him. I don't believe she's on the Zoom today. We would nonetheless ask the court sound for her. She explained that she doesn't want the defendant over at her house without an escort, so she doesn't feel safe alone with him. And that the defendant has her door key so that he can enter whenever he wants. She wants her keys back. The lease is in her name, not the defendant's. So, I mean, the defendant attacked her. She fled by vehicle here, continued to pursue her in the vehicle. We're concerned for her safety. We're asking for a $3,000 surety total, $1,500 on the battery family violence and $500 on each of the simple battery family violences. For the defendant to complete FFIB, have no further contact with Miss Robinson, stay away from the apartment complex at 2840 Norman Berry Drive in East Point, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Your Honor, I do believe Miss Robinson is on.
Can we sound? Yeah.
Yes. Ms. Robinson is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Is this Ms. Robinson under Barbara Robinson here? I have a Tina Robinson that you wanted me to sound for, Mr. Sirocco. Is that right?
Yes, Judge, I believe it's Tina Robinson. I'm not sure if Barbara Robinson. Are you in any way related to Tina Robinson, ma'am?
No.
Okay, thank you, Miss Barbara. All right,
Your Honor, I would be asking for a signature bond for my client. He is 65 years old, and as the state has said, he's only had one arrest in 1980, which is, a very, very long time ago, and it was for criminal trespass, nothing violent. He's 65, he is retired. They have been in a relationship for some time. My client tells me that when Miss Robinson gets drunk, she gets belligerent and she acts up, and she was actually the one who was attacking him. He tells me that he has pictures that he will share with me of him with a black eye where she struck him on a different occasion, and that whenever she drinks, her behavior is totally out of control. He tells me that even though the lease is in her name, all the furniture in the apartment is his furniture, and he would like the opportunity to retrieve this furniture if the court rules that he should not go back to live there. He's going to need a one-time police escort with sufficient time so he can retrieve his furniture and his personal belongings. But I think under the circumstances, a signature bond would be appropriate, Your Honor. And he does deny the allegations and said actually she was the one attacking him, and he was merely restraining her when because she got struck because she was fighting him.
okay, nothing further. For the battery will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For each of the other charges will be a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ms. Robinson. Stay away from the Norman Berry Drive address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. If he needs anything more than he can get in a one-time escort, Ms. McLeod, he's going to have to go through civil proceeding to get those additional belongings.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck to you, Mr. Williams.
Next is position 10, Mr. Hodge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hodge. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003487A with 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, this is the first arrest.
And this is my case, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Fall.
This incident happened back on, just make sure I am at the right individual. Happened on June 22nd of 2025 at 751 Fairburn Road, Southwest in Atlanta. The defendant got into an argument about losing his phone and then took Miss Emily Allen's phone and refused to return it. Miss Allen's friend then called her phone, and the defendant told Miss Allen's friend that he wouldn't return Miss Allen's phone to her. The friend then, who lives in an apartment down from their apartment, then came to check on Miss Allen and observed the defendant trying to retrieve her phone from the defendant striking Miss Allen with his fist and grabbing her by the neck and choking her. We had an opportunity to speak with Miss Allen. She stated her friend was talking to the officer most of the time. She said she really doesn't recall much of anything. It was extremely hazy. And she doesn't remember the hitting, but as I've stated, the friend of hers who came over to check on her observed the defendant hitting her, and the police were called. She said that they have never gotten into anything physical. She does want contact. However, due to the state's concerns in regards to what occurred on this date, we are asking for a $3,000 surety bond. No further contact with Emily Allen. Stay away from 2420 Stone Road, apartment 9 in East Point. 2 days anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and no firearms. The primary reason for this recommendation, Your Honor, is due to the fact that this was observed by a secondary witness who saw the defendant choking her. And as Your Honor may already know, choking is an extremely high lethality factor, and we have some very serious concerns given that the defendant was seen choking this victim in front of another witness. That's all for the state. We would like to sound from Miss Emily Allen at this time.
Ms. Allen, I see you on the line. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. You certainly don't have to, but if you would like to, I'll need for you to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Yes, ma'am. If you will raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Yeah, I had something written, so I'm allowed to read from a paper.
Yes, ma'am.
So in regards to the incident, I definitely wanted to speak on Caleb's character. Caleb is a sensitive, goofy, trustworthy, and like wonderful person to not only know, but like definitely have in your corner. And this single incident is not a true reflection of his character, our 4-year relationship, the future that we were building, or anything. And not only are we both college educated young adults just trying to find our way, Caleb comes from a 2-parent household. He's the oldest of 2 other siblings, and he always takes pride in being the oldest and leading by example. He recently just graduated with his Bachelor of Science in Sports Management and Health and Community Wellness, and finished his matriculation on the President's List for having a 4.0. And he also has active plans of wanting to attend graduate school. And while he was in college, he was a part of fraternity. He was on the e-board for his fraternity. He served as the keeper of records and seals. And he also participated in a various number of community service events, from voter registration to visiting high schools, elementary schools, trying to just bridge that educational gap within his own community. And this truly was an isolated mistake and not like an indication of a pattern. At this moment, yeah, I have my own emotions because I definitely understand actions have consequences, but this was not something that I wanted. It was not something that was my choice to, get other things involved. But I believe that everybody makes mistakes and should have the opportunity to come back from those same mistakes. And I have no desire to like pursue this, press any charges or anything, because I did not feel like, from what I told them, because it was hazy from our argument, I did not think that there's something that needed to go that far. But from my standpoint, this is not a reflection of who he truly is and his character. And so I'm just wanting to express my want for some grace. And that was it. I have never felt threatened by Caleb. He does not threaten me now. I don't feel threatened now. And I just firmly believe it won't happen again. And that's
Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Allen. Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor. In addition to everything that Ms. Allen said, my client is 23. He has lived in Atlanta his whole life. His family lives in the Covington area, and he did tell me that he just graduated from college on May 17, and he did get a degree in sports management and health and community wellness. He tells me that he currently does not have a job now, but that he is looking for work. For those reasons, Your Honor, he asks for the lowest possible bond, including the possibility of a signature bond.
Okay, for each charge will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 3 days of anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Allen, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hodge.
The next is position 6, Mr. Cresswell.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cresswell. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003466Y with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was March the 4th, 2024 out of Fulton County for an FTA. There's 23 total arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia, California, and Tennessee. 3 misdemeanor convictions outside the last 10-year period. There's a 2023 criminal trespass misdemeanor conviction, and also a 2023 violation of family violence order. There's an FTA from 2024. Nothing further.
Your Honor, if we may, position 24, Mr. Seaborn is a co-defendant in this case. Can he come up as well? And we can address both cases at the same time.
Have Mr. Seaborn there?
Okay. And just to clarify, I don't think they're all of it happened at the same time, all at the same location. So I can't say they're necessarily per se co-defendants. So I don't think it's a conflict. It just all happened with the same officer at the same location, 2 different individuals.
Okay. So, Miss.
One moment, Judge. Mr. McLean represents Mr. Seaborn, and he's in courtroom 1 doing the breakout with the Spanish interpreter.
Okay.
Okay. So
Right.
we'll have to
Your
come
Honor,
back to
Mr. Cresswell is my client, so we have to conflict one of them out.
And Mr. Shataya, as I said, I don't think they're necessarily co-defendants. It just happened at the same location. The officer happened to be there, criminally trespassed 2 of them, and then they both came back at different times.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and do Mr. Cresswell, and then I'll have it top of mind for when Mr. Seaborn comes back before us.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
So
let me go ahead. I don't think
apologies.
I've no problem. I don't think I've addressed Mr. Cresswell as yet. Mr. Cresswell, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Moore. Oh no, I have, because I've gotten his history. Okay, so yes, Ms. Falk, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. So this happened on June 21st, 2025 at the BP gas station at 245 Memorial Drive, Southeast in Atlanta. The defendants entered the BP at the above location and were separately given criminal trespass warnings by employee Ronnie Gomes, telling them not to return to the location. Both within the next 20 to 30 minutes returned to the location while the officer was actually doing reports and working on reports. He was sitting there at the location. And within about 20 to 30 minutes, both of them returned back to the location in defiance of the criminal trespass orders. And so he arrested them both. The current bond is set at $1,000 on Mr. Seaborn and Mr. Cresswell, just to give Your Honor an overview. I am asking for a $500 surety bond, stay away from the BP location at 245 Memorial Drive, Southeast in Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. The reason for the surety bond, Your Honor, is due to the fact that the defendant is a multi-state offender and we are concerned about flight risk. That's all for the state.
Thank you. Mr. Chataya?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cresswell asks for the lowest bond possible. He's 41 years old. He tells me that he's lived in Atlanta for the past 4 years. He also tells me his father lives here in the area. In terms of his schooling, he got as far as the 9th grade. My understanding is, Your Honor, that he's currently not at work and he would not be able to afford the bond that the state is asking for. And he also tells me that he struggles with housing. So I asked one of our social workers to see him when that's possible.
Okay, Ms. Bridgewater, are you with me?
I am, Your Honor.
I don't want to hold this case until the 7th. Can we put it on the Tuesday after next?
Okay, let me get a calendar.
I have that down as, let's see,
The first. The
the first, right, thank you. Can we put it on the SAP calendar for the first?
We certainly will.
Okay, thank you. As such, it will be $1,000 good bond, a social worker visit to assist with housing. I want him to stay away from the BP gas station on Memorial Drive. And I'll see him back at the SAP calendar on the first. Hopefully we can get him some services and move the case forward at that time. Okay. Good luck, Mr. Cresswell. I'll see you back in a week or so.
Morning, good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Saint Serena, ACDC. We can go to position 8, Ms. George.
Good afternoon. And let me go ahead and just address all the young ladies that are there at one time. Good afternoon, ladies. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender or conflict defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Ms. George, you have been charged in case 25 CR 003477J with 2 counts of willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, simple battery against a police officer, and possession and use of drug-related objects. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor. The last arrest was February 7th, 2025, out of Fulton County for criminal trespass and obstruction. It appears that they're on probation for that case. The number is 24 CR 008227J. There's 8 total arrest cycles. Misdemeanor conviction in 2025 for disorderly conduct and obstruction, and also criminal trespass. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened June 20th of 2025 at Piercing the City at 906 Cleveland Avenue in East Point. The defendant had been given a criminal trespass warning by Ronald Lee George, who's the brother of the defendant. And he stated the defendant kept coming back to the property without consent. The defendant, after being given the warning by Mr. George and police, tried to charge back onto the property, stating, "I'm going to get that MF." The officer did try to stop her, and then she grabbed the officer by the arm. That resulted in a struggle, which caused her to be arrested. A glass pipe, which was commonly used to smoke cocaine, was found on her person. Her brother, Mr. George, also stated that he believes there's some serious drug-related issues here. For that reason, the state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond. That's $500 on each count. The originally set bond was $1,800. No further contact with Ronald Lee George. Stay away from Piercing the City at 906 Cleveland Avenue in East Point. We're also asking for ADET and random screens and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. That's all for the state. Oh, we would like to sound for Mr. Ronald George in case he is here and would like to speak.
If Mr. George is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss George is a 42-year-old Atlanta native. She tells me her whole family lives in Atlanta. She's a high school graduate, and she told me that currently she's not at work. In fact, she's on Social Security disability benefits, and she also recently had a mental health diagnosis for which she sees a doctor regularly. So, Your Honor, I don't believe she would be able to afford the bond that the state's asking for, and she asks for the lowest bond possible, including, if it's possible, a signature bond.
All right, for each charge will be a $250 good bond, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. No further contact with Mr. George. Stay away from his residential address. I want to have her to have a social worker visit to assess for a BHET or determine what type of treatment that she's currently receiving. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Miss George.
Your Honor, in addition for the no contact with his residence, we would still ask for stay away from that business. I believe that's where he is either he either owns or is employed there, but that's the location she keeps coming back to.
Okay, so she's to stay away from the Piercing the City, I believe it is, on Cleveland Avenue.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Next is position 9, Mr. Gomez.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Gomez. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003482E with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was November 10th, 2022 out of Monroe County for a probation violation. There's 12 arrest cycles in Georgia. Misdemeanor conviction in 2016 for false name, address, and date of birth to law enforcement. 2020, driving without a license and DUI. 2022, driving while license suspended or revoked. And there appears to be a hold out of Homer, Georgia for a probation violation. And the date of that warrant is August 11th, 2020. Nothing further.
Thank you, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on June 20th of 2025 at 2420 Stone Road, apartment 9 in East Point. The defendant and Ms. Takara Williams had gotten into an argument because she had come home late. The defendant became angry, punched her in the mouth, busting her lip and her gum above her 2 front teeth. The officers did observe visible bleeding. The defendant then refused to leave, causing Ms. Williams to arm herself to get him to leave. She actually took up a firearm to get him to leave the residence. There are, as you've heard, 13 cycles. We also have a 2018 and a 2016 FTA. We will state that we have spoken to Miss Williams. She stated that the information in the warrant is correct. However, it was more of a push and a shove, and it wasn't all that serious, according to her. However, the state is concerned because obviously it was serious enough for 2 reasons. Ms. Williams felt the need to call 911. And secondly, Ms. Williams felt the need to go get a gun. And so at the point that you are having to pick up a firearm to prevent somebody from hurting you and to convince them to leave the home and leave you alone, it has gotten to a point that the state has to intervene, and they do feel concerned for the safety of the victim. Given that this happened just 3 days ago, we are agreeable to a signature bond through pretrial services, but are asking for no further contact with Ms. Takara Williams, 2-day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no firearms, and stay away from 2420 Stone Road, apartment 9 in East Point. Again, the main concern here is the need for a firearm given the circumstances. At this time, we would like to sound for Ms. Takara Williams.
Ms. Williams, she's to address the court. It's not appear so. Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Gomez does not object to a signature bond, but he did tell me that if told to stay away from the address or to have no further contact with Ms. Williams, you would have nowhere else to live. So I would just ask for no further violent contact instead.
Your Honor.
Oh, yes. Okay, Ms. Williams. Let's see.
Yes.
Can you raise your right hand for me, ma'am?
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna need for you to find a place where you're not going in and out on me so that I can properly hear you. Can you relocate to someplace that?
I can
Well,
try.
okay, I can hear you right now. So you
Yeah,
just
I'm currently at work, so I apologize.
okay. No, you're fine. Stay right there where you are. What would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
That night, never seen it happen before. Yeah, we both was kind of like under the influence and had a little bit to drink. So when I did get there, things escalated in ways that wasn't supposed to. Never had issue with him at all. We also stayed together. I just found out that we're on our way to having a child together. So, yes. Do not,
Okay.
yes.
Well, Miss Falk told me that you found it necessary to go and get a gun to help to protect yourself, that you were that afraid. Is that the case?
I was not afraid. I was more so just trying to get him to leave the house and maybe come back at a later time when both of us then settle down and calm down and maybe talk about it at a later date. But we've
Okay.
talked, we're fine now.
Well, this only happened a few days ago.
Yeah, so we're
So,
fine. We've never had an altercation like this before. And like I said, it was more so of a push and shove. It wasn't like, no, okay, I punched you or anything like that. It was more so just a push and shove. We both played a part in that.
okay, has this happened before?
No, never have been before. My family loves him. I love him.
And how long have you all been together?
We've been together for a year now.
Ms. Falk, do you have any questions?
Yes, Your Honor, just because I just want to make sure I'm clear on what Miss Williams was saying. So, Miss Williams, did you or did you not get a gun after you begged the defendant to leave and he refused?
I only did that because I felt like that was gonna make him leave.
Okay,
So it
so
was
you-
more, so it was
Oh.
more so just to get him to leave so we can just talk about it at a later date. So yes, I did. But it was just to get him to leave the house and go over to his uncle's house. And maybe later on, at a later date, we can talk about it.
And then after that, you called the police.
What do you mean?
Did you call the police after he left?
No, I didn't call after he left. He was still at the house.
When you called police?
Yes.
Okay.
And he
And
was actually leaving when they were pulling up.
Okay. So let me just make sure I'm clear on the order. You called the police, he refused to leave, you got a gun, he left, the police arrived.
No, he didn't leave. He was starting to leave. He was walking down the stairs to leave. And that's when the cops pulled up.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Miss Williams. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. I don't know if there's been a sufficient cooling off period, and I did hear, Mr. Chataya, that from Ms. Williams, that your client does have an uncle's house that he can go to. So I believe that there should be more of a cooling off period, especially given the fact that they've only been together for a year and a gun was used. I'm concerned for not only your client, but also for Ms. Williams. As such, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 for the battery family violence. $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 for the simple battery, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 1-day anger awareness. No further contact at this time with Ms. Williams. Stay away from the Stone Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Down the road, Ms. Williams, this bond order can be modified once there is deemed to be a sufficient cooling off period and it's presented back before a judge. Good luck to you both.
Next is position number 14, Ms. Joseph.
Good afternoon, Ms. Joseph. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003479J with 2 counts of simple battery family violence and 1 count of battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, this is her first arrest.
Yes, Ms. Harrison.
Yes, Your
And
Honor, on
before you go, I'm sorry, Ms. Harris, I just want to make sure that we have the attorney present that's representing Ms. Joseph. Who's representing Ms. Joseph?
Mr. McLean and Miss.
Okay, so
are in the
all right.
breakout room with the Spanish interpreter.
Okay, so let's go to someone else. Mr. McLean is in a breakout room.
Position number 5, Ms. Collins.
Okay, and let's see, who's representing Ms. Collins? Who do we have representing Ms. Collins this afternoon?
That's Mr. Jatai's time.
Mr. Chatai, are you still with me?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here.
Okay, you're representing Ms. Collins?
Yes,
Position
Your Honor.
number, okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Collins. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003465E with 2 counts of battery, simple battery, and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Excuse me, the last arrest was December 1st, 2018 out of DeKalb for theft by shoplifting. And that's their only arrest cycle, nothing further.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened June 17th of 2025 at 1731 Pierce Street. The defendant came over to the house of Miss Maya Wilson, who's the mother of the sibling of the defendant's child. So they share the same child's father. They have separate children, but share the same partner. The defendant became aggressive when she came over to the residence. She ostensibly came over there just to talk to Miss Wilson, but when she arrived, she became very aggressive. The defendant then approached and physically attacked Miss Wilson. This entire incident was actually caught on the Ring doorbell camera, which was shown to the officer. And based on what he observed on the Ring doorbell, he placed the defendant under arrest. We did have an opportunity to speak with Miss Wilson. She stated that the information in the warrant was correct, but she additionally stated that the defendant took out not only a cell phone, and in the Ring camera video, you can see her taking something out of her pocket and putting it on the railing. According to Miss Wilson, she stated not only did the defendant take out a phone and set it on the porch, she also took out a handgun and set it on the porch in order to intimidate her. And she continues to make posts on social media stating that Miss Wilson will have an enemy for life and she will send information via text. The Miss Wilson also stated her 8-month-old child was present at the incident, as well as her 53-year-old mother, who is quite ill. She further stated that she will be present for the Zoom hearing, but she does not wish to speak. We did see that there was only one arrest through pretrial diversion for that 2019 theft by shoplifting. However, we are concerned, given the nature of the offense and the allegation of a handgun being involved, we will ask for a $5,000 surety bond through pretrial, $5,000 surety bond, not through pretrial services, excuse me, Your Honor. No further contact with Maya Wilson. Stay away from 1731 Pierce Street in Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. No firearms. 2-day anger awareness. And we'd also like to additionally ask for just a blanket no further contact by phone, text, social media with any member of Miss Wilson or any member of Miss Wilson's family, given that the defendant is still harassing her via social media. That's all for the state. And we would like to sound from Miss Maya Wilson just in case she does wish to speak.
So Wilson, I see you on the line. Wish to address the court. Now is your opportunity.
Hi, I just wanted to let you guys know that
Hold on,
it's
Miss
7:30.
Hold on, Miss
Oh,
Wilson.
sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm happy to listen, but I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay, I'm gonna need for you to pull over the vehicle. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm getting off the highway now.
Okay, I'm gonna need for you to can we? I'll have to come back to you, Miss Wilson. You're not appropriately dressed for court, ma'am, so I'm not going to be able to hear from you. I'll take what Miss Falk has to say into consideration this afternoon.
No, I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to correct my address.
Okay. So we'll
Sorry, Your
ahead,
Honor.
Ms.
Ms. Wilson, go ahead and pull over and text me your correct address and I will update the address with court. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Chataya, and can we go ahead and thank you. Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Collins is a 25-year-old Atlanta native. She has family in the Atlanta area as well. She tells me that she has a daughter at home who's turning 4 years old pretty soon, but that temporarily she's staying with a relative while she's here. She also tells me that she has some college to her name. She studied business finance when she was in school. And she currently has 3 jobs. One is a full-time job working as a beautician. She's been doing that for 4 years now. She also works as a kitchen staff member, and she's been doing that for 1.5 years on a part-time basis, I believe. And she also has been working as a caterer for the past 3 years, also on a part-time basis. She also receives government benefits, Your Honor. She's on Medicaid and food stamps, and she would not be able to afford the bond that the state's asking for. Therefore, Ms. Collins asks for the lowest bond amount that's reasonable for her case.
Okay, for each charge will be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Wilson, stay away from her residential address, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Ms. Collins, let me explain to you so that you know that it's come from me what no contact means. No contact means absolutely no contact. No, obviously no personal contact, no phone contact, no internet contact, no social media contact, no contact through third parties. If I find out that you've in any way contacted Ms. Wilson or any member of Ms. Wilson's family, I'm going to withdraw this bond and you'll be right back where you are. You understand what I'm saying, ma'am? All right. Good luck to you, ma'am. I'm not able to hear her ACDC.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Hold on. If you're talking,
yeah.
don't talk about the case. If you need to talk to Mr. Chataya later, I'm happy to give you that opportunity.
No, I just want to say I don't know this person and I've never had contact
Ms.
with
Collins,
them.
Ms. Collins, I recommend that you not talk about your case here. These hearings are recorded and listened to by the prosecutors. Whatever you say, they can use against you in a future. Let me finish. Whatever you say can be used against you at a future proceeding. So if you're going to talk about the case now, you're doing so at your own peril.
Okay, so, all right. Good luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
Next is position 24, Mr. Seaborn.
Mr. Seaborn is Mr. McLean's client, so that was the other part of the criminal trespass case.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if he's out of his breakout yet.
No, yes, he's right here.
Okay, great.
Yes, good afternoon again, Mr. Seaborn. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003467G with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
Yes, Your Honor. Their last arrest was January 10th, 2025 out of Fulton County for an FTA. They have 66 total arrest cycles in Georgia. 4 felony convictions outside the last 10-year period. There's a 2019 aggravated assault, 2017 possession of cocaine. As far as misdemeanors, there is 4 misdemeanor convictions since 2018 for criminal trespass. There's a 2019 theft by shoplifting, 2018 disorderly conduct. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. You've already heard the facts on this case, but I'll just briefly reiterate them. Defendant was at 2245 Memorial Drive Southeast. The BP was asked to leave, came back within 20 to 30 minutes, all of which was observed by the officer who then put the defendant under arrest. You have already granted the co-defendant in this case a $1,000 surety bond. a stay away from the BP at 245 Memorial Drive Southeast in Atlanta, as well as a social worker visit and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and you reset the case to July 1st SAP. We are asking for the same thing for this defendant. That's all for the state.
Thank you. Mr. McLean?
Yeah, what was the recommendation again? I was having a cross out here.
$1,000 surety bond, Mr. McLean. That's the bond that's already set, and the bond that Mr. Cresswell, his co-defendant, received. A social worker visit, stay away from the BP, and reset to July 1st SAP, which would be a week earlier than normal.
Right. Thank you. Your Honor, we realize that there are quite a few arrests in the arrest cycles here. Yet, Your Honor, we would like to ask the court to consider a signature bond due to the nature of the charge and his ability to stay away from the BP. If indeed this charge is correct. Your Honor, he was, let's see, born in 64, so I'll do my math and figure out how old he is. But Your Honor, Mr. Seaborn has a good, stable address on Delmar Lane. He gets good mail service there, he tells me. It's his mom's address. He has an 11th grade education. He's been unemployed for a while, but for a longest time, for 8 years, for several years, at least 8 years ago, rather, he had worked in a bakery in Savannah. And it's a rather well-known bakery that everybody knows about in Savannah. So, Your Honor, we would ask the court to consider a signature bond because of the stability, community ties, and because of the nature of the charge. Thank you.
Okay. It will be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from that BP station, social worker visit, to assess for a BHET or housing. And I'll also place him on the July 1st SAB calendar along with the other gentlemen. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, thank you, Ms. Bridgewater.
You're welcome.
Okay, who do we have next?
Position number 1, Ms. Barron.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Barron. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0034628 with battery family violence and 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was September 25th, 2012, out of APD for battery family violence. They have 3 total arrest cycles in Georgia, nothing further.
Ms. Falk? You're on mute there, Ms. Falk.
Thank you, Your Honor. This occurred June 20th of 2024 at 195 Fairburn Road Southwest in Atlanta. The defendant slapped Henry Render Jr. with an open hand because he refused to pay her cell phone bill. Mr. Render, according to the officers, had visible scratches to his neck. The defendant does have the 5 arrest cycles. I will point out an FTA in 2010, a family violence battery that was dismissed in 2012, and then the state actually dismissed a family violence battery and a simple battery family violence against the same victim because those occurred in 2020 and 2022 and had run the statute of limitations when she was arrested on those cases today. So we were not aware of those warrants until they were levied on her today. And at that point, they had passed the statute of limitations. But all of those warrants involve the same victim. And so we do have some serious concerns about the continuing course of violence here because that was a 2020 case, a 2022 case, and now a 2024 case, all involving the same person. And according to Mr. Render in the warrant and the police report, they have been living together for 8 years. We are asking for a $5,000 surety bond, $3,000 on the family violence battery, $1,000 on the remaining counts, and no further contact with Henry Render Jr. Stay away from 195 Fairburn Road Southwest in Atlanta. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Given the fact that there had been so many allegations of abuse, we are asking for FVIP and no firearms. We would at this time like to sound for Mr. Henry Render Jr. And that's all for the state.
Mr. Biden wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. Chitaya?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Barron is a 34-year-old native of Atlanta. He has her entire family here, 10th grade education, has been working at an Amazon warehouse as an associate for the past 2 years, making pallets and shipping them and so forth. She has one son, 12 years old. He lives with her. And according to her, Mr. Render doesn't live at the 195 Fairburn address anymore, so I would object to stay away. Again, that's based on my understanding of what my client told me. So based on that, I would object to stay away from the 195 Fairburn address. Given those factors, Your Honor, I would ask the court for the lowest bond amount possible.
And Your Honor, we did not have, being that we just had warrants, we weren't able to get in touch with Mr. Render. We are agreeable to changing that to a one-time police escort to see if Mr. Render lives at the residence, and if he does not, allowing her to retake residence.
No
Okay.
objection to that, Your Honor.
For the battery, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For each of the other charges, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 5 days of anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Render. She can go back to the Fairburn address on one occasion with law enforcement. If Mr. Render does not reside there, she can stay there. If he does reside there, she'll have to collect her belongings and find somewhere else to reside. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck, Ms. Barron.
Next are positions 26 and 27, Mr. Thomas.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thomas. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003475G with simple battery against a person who was 65 years or older or who was pregnant at the time of the offense. And in case 25 CR 003478G with battery, 3 counts of simple battery, and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This is his first arrest.
Thank you. Mr. Sirocco?
Thank you, Judge. So addressing the first incident first, this one is position 26. So this one took place September 24th of last year at 3566 Adkins Road. In Atlanta, law enforcement responded to a 911 hang-up call. Upon arrival, the officer observed a pregnant woman sitting on the porch of the incident location alongside a group of men. The officer made contact with the victim, Miss Janice Thomas, who explained that the defendant, her younger brother, who lives with her there, was drinking and became intoxicated. The victim was 7 months pregnant at the time. She explained that she was inside her bedroom. The defendant began striking her in the head and the face multiple times with a closed fist. Other people in the house had to come and break up the altercation. And when the victim said she was going to call the police, the defendant fled the scene. So he was not there when law enforcement arrived, part of the delayed arrest here. The officer observed that the victim was pregnant, and let's see, he was identified later through further investigation with the Atlanta Public School Detective's Office. So that was that case. With the other case, that's position 27. This incident took place June 21st through June 22nd. It was late in the evening, June 21st when this started at 906 Mercury Drive, Northwest Atlanta. Law enforcement responded to the location in reference to a domestic incident. Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the victim, Miss Jemiah Taylor, who explained that the defendant, who's in a relationship with her, had physically attacked her and her 1-year-old child, Rodriguez Taylor. The defendant struck Miss Taylor in the face multiple times, causing bruising and swelling, and then proceeded to drag her by the hair multiple times. Defendant also struck Rodriguez Taylor, who was being held by his mother at the time. The defendant struck the baby in the head. The officer observed that Ms. Taylor sustained multiple injuries, and the defendant was identified as the primary aggressor here. We have not been able to reach the victims in these cases thus far. We will continue efforts at contact, and we will speak to them in the future. We would nonetheless ask the court sound for them when appropriate. What we have here is two serious violent cases. The beating of a 7-month pregnant woman, Ms. Thomas, and the beating of the defendant's girlfriend, Ms. Taylor, and her child while she was holding him. With two violent cases, the defendant poses a risk of reoffense and a threat to the community with this kind of behavior. So the state's asking on position 26 for a $3,000 surety, no further contact with Janice Thomas, stay away from 3566 Adkins Road, Northwest Atlanta. And on position 27, state is asking for a $5,000 total surety, $3,000 on the battery, $5,000 on each of the 4 remaining counts. 2-day anger awareness, no further contact with Jemiah Taylor, stay away from 906 Mercury Drive, Northwest Atlanta. And for both bonds, we would ask for no drugs, weapons, or alcohol.
If Ms. Thomas or Ms. Taylor, either on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Thomas tells me that might not be accurate, that in fact, in the second case, that is not his girlfriend. But Your Honor, he is 18 years old, he tells me, and he's been through the 8th grade, that he is not working right now. Your Honor, we would ask, he does have the address of Adkins Road. So if Your Honor tells him to stay away from Adkins Road, he will find a place through his family. They will inquire. Since it is his first arrest, though there are 2 cases, I understand what they're saying. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond. If that is not appropriate, Your Honor, we would ask the court to consider a $1,000 or $2,000 total bond for everything. Thank you.
So where is he going to stay? And have you tried to get in? Who lives at the Atkins Road address besides he and his sister?
He lives there, I believe. I believe his parents may live there. They are together, but he tells me his sister does not live there. I don't have any confirmation of anything because I've been trying the phone number as well. So we are in the dark. It's not a good situation.
Okay, I'm gonna need to find out more. Ms. Bridgewater, again, I would like to place this case on the SAP calendar on July 1st.
Okay.
In the meantime, Mr. McLean, I'm gonna give him a good bond at this time, but if you can reach his parents and have them either speak to them or have them come to court at that SAP calendar, so that I can reconsider this bond if necessary. So at the present time, for position number 26, it will be a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Thomas. Stay away from the Atkins Road address. One-time escort to retrieve any belongings. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. For position 27, for the battery, $1,000 good bond. For each of the other charges, a $500 good bond. Makes for a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Taylor. Stay away from the Mercury Drive address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I'll see him back on the SAP calendar on July 1st, and hopefully we can get more clarification.
Very good.
Okay?
See what we can find. Thank you.
Judge, did you order the no further contact and stay away for the position 27, or did I miss that?
I believe I ordered it.
You did.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Who do we have next?
Position number 15, Miss Kanu.
Yes, good afternoon, Ms. Kanu. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003489F with simple battery against a police officer, with obstruction of law enforcement, and battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was June 28, 2019, out of Alexandria, Virginia, for assault and battery. And that's their only arrest cycle, nothing further.
You, Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. Officers were dispatched to 1919 Metropolitan Parkway in reference to a dispute call. When they arrived, they met with the defendant, Ms. Kanu, who stated she'd been asked to leave the location. I'm sorry, the echo is throwing me off. Okay. Ms. Kanu stated she wasn't aware of why she was being asked to leave the premises. And while speaking with officers, she started to get hostile and scream at officers. They asked her to leave the premises multiple times and she refused. While trying to detain her, she fell to the ground, hiding her hands underneath her body. So officers were not able to place handcuffs on her wrists. And when they were finally able to detain her, she still had her purse in her hand. Officers reached to get her ID from her purse, and she scratched officers, causing redness and swelling to the officers' hands. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, a stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond. And give me just a second here, and I'll give you that location. I think I accidentally deleted it.
Is that the Metropolitan Avenue address, Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you know what? Is it?
1919 Metropolitan Parkway Southwest.
Okay, and is that a business?
I'm not sure. Like, give me just one second. Yes, it looks like it's a MARTA station.
Hmm.
A MARTA Mart.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ms. Tucker.
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Canoe is 24 years of age. She was in the area visiting her sister who lives off of Rumbling Lane. The location I actually believe was a bar. Yes, from when I spoke to Miss Canoe about it, the situation. She has obtained an associate's degree in nursing as well as a degree in business operations. She's currently employed at APA, an insurance company. And due to her very limited criminal history, she only has one arrest, and it occurred over 5 years ago. And she has no failure to appears on that. We are requesting a signature bond on her behalf. We believe it is appropriate in this situation. And we would also like to note that she is the one that called the police due to being harassed by those security guards at that bar. So she was actually requesting help, and the situation stemmed out of hand and turned into a charge and her being arrested. But due to her history, we are again requesting a signature bond on her behalf.
And Your Honor, the address is an Atlanta Flea Market Metro Mart. So the stay away would be for that entire location.
Okay. For each charge will be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Next is position 20. You want me to do the Spanish interpretation or wait till the end for those?
However you like for me to do it is it
You go ahead.
okay? So this gentleman needs the interpreter.
Yes, sir. Next two.
Okay, so the next two. All right, very good. Good afternoon, Miss Jansen.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I can't turn on my camera, but I'm here.
Okay.
I don't know what's going
I-
on. I already signed out and came back in, but I'm here.
Okay, I recognize your voice, so that's not a problem. If you'll
Thank you, sir.
if you'll raise your right hand for me, do you
Yes,
swear
sir.
affirm you swear affirm that you will interpret from English to Spanish and Spanish to English to the best of your ability?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Mendez. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003488Y with battery family violence and simple battery family violence.
Buenas tardes, señor Méndez. En su caso 25 CR 003 488 tiene un cargo por agresión, violencia familiar, agresión simple, violencia familiar. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Is there a history?
Hay un antecedente.
This is the first arrest.
Este es el primer arresto,
Ms. Harrison?
señora Harrison.
Yes, Your Honor. On June 21st, officers responded to a domestic dispute at 2338 Bolton Road.
En una disputa en el 2338 de Bolton Road, los oficiales respondieron a una llamada el 21 de junio.
When they arrived, they observed multiple Corona bottles in the parking lot of the residence, and they approached and met with the victim, Ms. Argelia Hernandez.
Cuando llegaron, observaron varias botellas de Corona en el estacionamiento de la residencia y se acercaron y reunieron con la víctima, la señora Argelia Hernández.
Ms. Hernandez explained to officers that her husband, the defendant, was outside drinking at approximately 3:55 a.m.
La señora Hernández explicó a los oficiales que su esposo, el acusado, había estado bebiendo afuera desde aproximadamente las 3:55 de la madrugada.
At that time, he came and knocked on the door. Ms. Hernandez opened the door. The defendant entered and began asking her questions about why she wasn't answering the phone.
En ese momento, él vino y golpeó a la puerta y la señora Hernández y le preguntó por qué no había, el acusado le empezó a hacer preguntas sobre por qué no contestaba el teléfono a ella.
With an open right hand, he then struck her across her face, and she retreated to the bedroom, and he followed her, arguing with her verbally.
Con la mano derecha abierta, la golpeó en la cara y ella se retiró al baño, al dormitorio, y él la siguió discutiendo con ella verbalmente.
He then struck her with a closed fist across her forehead, causing a knot to form.
Después la golpeó con I'm sorry, he struck her with
a closed fist on her forehead, causing a knot to form.
Él golpeó con un puño, causándole un chichón.
Ms. Hernandez began screaming after being struck, which caused their 7-year-old child to be woken up. She was able to secure him and call 911 using her sister's cell phone.
La señora Hernández comenzó a gritar después de ser golpeada, lo que provocó que su hijo de 7 años se despertara. pudo asegurarlo y llamó al 911 usando el teléfono celular de su hermana.
Officers were then able to place Mr. Hernandez under arrest.
Los oficiales entonces procedieron a poner al señor Hernández bajo arresto.
At this time, Your Honor, we were not able to reach the victim due to the defendant's criminal history, this being his first arrest. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no contact with the victim, a stay away from the residence for a sufficient cooling off period, completion of FBIP, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond. And I can break it up if we need to, Ms. Chauncey.
Yes, ma'am. En este momento, hasta este momento no hemos podido contactar a la víctima debido a los antecedentes penales del acusado y siendo este su primer arresto. Las recomendaciones de la fiscalía es una fianza de $3,000, no tener contacto alguno con la víctima, mantenerse distanciado perimetralmente de la residencia durante un periodo suficiente para calmarse la situación y tiene que completar un programa de eh, violencia alterno y prohibido queda el uso de drogas, armas y alcohol. Miss Harrison, is FBIP like an alternative program?
It's a family violence intervention program of
Thank
26
you.
months.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure. Y tiene que tomar un programa de violencia familiar alterno.
And we'll sound from Ms. Hernandez at this time.
Yes, ma'am. Señora Hernández, ¿está presente en la plataforma? Por favor, prenda su micrófono, su cámara para que podamos atenderla. Señora Hernández.
Does not appear so. Ms. Tucker?
Señora Tucker.
Mr. Mendez is 28 years of age and he's lived in the Atlanta area for 7 years now.
El señor tiene 28 años de edad y él ha vivido en el área de Atlanta durante 7 años hasta ahora.
He has a 10th grade education and he currently works in construction, supporting his 2 daughters.
Él tiene una educación de hasta el 10º grado y en la actualidad trabaja en la construcción, manteniendo a sus 2 hijas.
Due to this being his first arrest, we are requesting a signature bond on his behalf.
Y debido a que este es el primer arresto, solicitamos una fianza bajo firma.
And I don't believe I heard if the state asked for a stay away, but if so, we are asking that he do be allowed to return to the residence upon making his bond.
Pero estamos también solicitando, no escuché bien acerca del contacto con la víctima, pero estamos solicitando que se le permita regresar a la residencia después de otorgarle la fianza.
Okay. If nothing further, for the battery will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Muy bien, nada más entonces, por el cargo de golpes y lesiones serán $2,000 de fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1. Para el cargo de golpes y lesiones simples, una fianza bajo firma de $1,000 a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1, lo que da un total de una fianza de $3,000 que será bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1.
No further contact with Ms. Hernandez. Stay away from the Bolton Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings.
No debe tener ningún tipo de contacto con la señora Hernández, debe mantener distanciamiento perimetral de la dirección sobre la calle Bolton Road y él puede regresar a ese lugar solamente en una ocasión con un oficial de policía para retirar cualquier pertenencia personal que tenga el señor Hernández.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Se prohíbe el uso de alcohol, drogas y armas durante el tiempo de estar bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Who do we have next?
Edition 22.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Perez. Ms. Chancey, are you with me?
Yes. Buenas
Okay.
tardes, señor Pérez.
You have been charged in case 25 CR 003472J with 2 counts of simple battery, family violence, and 2 counts of simple battery.
Buenas tardes. En su caso 25CR 003472J, con 2 cargos de golpes y lesiones simples, violencia familiar y 2 cargos de golpes y lesiones simples.
Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Hardy?
The last arrest was November 9th, 2020.
El último arresto fue el 9 de noviembre del 2020
out of Bartow County for driving without a license.
en el condado de Bartow por manejar sin licencia válida.
They have 2 arrest cycles in Georgia.
Y existen otros 2 arrestos, ciclos de arresto en el estado, anteriores en el estado de Georgia.
There's a 2018 and a 2021 misdemeanor conviction for driving without a license.
Hay un cargo en el 2018 y en el 2021 que es una condena de delito menor por manejar sin una licencia.
Nothing further.
Nada más.
Yes, Judge. So this incident took place on June 21st of this year at 1361 Northampton Road in Alpharetta.
Sí, su señoría, este incidente tuvo lugar el 21 de junio de este año en el 1361 de Northampton Road en Alpharetta.
Law enforcement responded to a domestic dispute call at the location.
La policía respondió a una disputa doméstica llamada desde el lugar de esta localidad.
Upon arrival, the officer made contact with the victims on scene who advised that the defendant had just run off into the woods.
Al llegar el oficial se contactó con las víctimas que estaban en el lugar, quienes declararon que el acusado se había escapado en medio del bosque.
The officer made contact with the defendant's wife and the first victim in this case, Miss Marlene Castanon, who explained that the defendant, her husband, had gotten into an argument with her over alcohol and a phone that became physical.
Em, el último contacto se hizo con la esposa del acusado y la primera víctima en este caso, la señora Marlene Castañón, quien explicó que el acusado, su esposo, él y ella habían estado en una discusión sobre el alcohol y un teléfono y que él hubo contacto físico debido a esto.
Two of their juvenile daughters witnessed the defendant grab their mother by her wrists, push her, and hit her in the chest.
Dos de las hijas menores atestiguaron que el acusado sujetó a su madre por las muñecas y la empujó golpeándola en el pecho.
The victim was able to mimic what the defendant had done to her, demonstrating the grabbing of her and also the hitting of her chest.
La víctima pudo demostrar haciendo mímica cómo el acusado le había hecho esto, demostrando cómo la sujetó y también el golpe que le dio en su pecho.
The officer made contact with one of the minor children there, juvenile BP, who is the defendant's daughter. She had heard an argument, stepped outside of her room, and witnessed the defendant grab her mother, so again, sorry, shared children, by her wrists and then hit her multiple times in the chest.
El oficial contactó a una de las menores con las iniciales BP, que es la hija del acusado. Ella había escuchado una discusión entre ellos y salió fuera de su habitación, de su recámara, y atestiguó cuando el acusado sujetó a su madre. O sea, es hija de ambos. Y atestiguó cuando la tomó de sus muñecas y después la golpeó múltiples veces en el pecho.
The officer made contact with the second victim in this case and the defendant's brother, Johido Perez, who explained that the defendant had been fighting his sister-in-law and also his niece when the victim, Mr. Perez, attempted to intervene. The defendant got him to the ground and then began striking him. And when the Mr. Perez attempted to stand up, the defendant began kicking him.
Con respecto, el oficial trató de contactar a la segunda víctima en este caso, que es el hermano del acusado Johanno Pérez, quien explicó que el acusado y él habían estado, el acusado, perdón, había estado peleando con su cuñada y también su sobrina cuando la víctima, eh, perdón, con la víctima, el señor Pérez intentó intervenir y el acusado lo tiró al piso y después comenzó a golpearlo. Y cuando el señor Pérez intentó pararse, el acusado comenzó a patearlo a él.
The altercation was captured on video by one of the children there.
El altercado fue grabado en un video por una de las niñas ahí.
We have spoken with the victim in this case, who explained that the information in the warrant is correct.
Hemos hablado con con la víctima, perdón, en este caso, quien explicó que la información en la orden de arresto es correcta.
She stated that the defendant was intoxicated, snatched her phone, and claimed that the victim was performing witchcraft on him.
Ella declaró que el acusado estaba ebrio, le arrebató su teléfono y acusó a la víctima a estar haciéndole brujerías.
then began punching her in the chest and grabbing her in front of their 14-year-old daughter.
Entonces empezó a darle puñetazos en el pecho y sujetarla enfrente de la hija de 14 años.
She explained that the defendant is violent and that she is in the process of filing for a divorce.
Explicó también que él es violento y que ella está en medio de un proceso de solicitar el divorcio.
She explained that her daughter attempted to intervene and separate the two without success.
También explicó que la hija intentó separarlos, intervenir y separarlos sin éxito.
The defendant and the victim share 5 children, ages 14, 13, 7, 4, and 2.
El acusado y la víctima tienen 5 hijos, 14, 13, 7, 4 y 2.
3 out of 5 of these children witnessed the incident.
Y 3 de los 5 fueron testigos de este incidente.
She states that the defendant has been violent for a long time.
Ella declaró que el acusado ha sido violento por un largo tiempo.
She stated also that the defendant also pushed the 13-year-old daughter and broke her necklace.
También dijo que el acusado empujó a la hija de 13 años y rompió su collar.
Miss Cassinan tried to stop the defendant, but he began pushing her again.
La señora Casson trató de detenerlo, pero él empezó a empujarla de nuevo.
She expressed that she is afraid of the defendant and does not want him to return home.
Ella dijo que no quiere que el acusado regrese a la residencia.
Given that the defendant has been violent for a long time, from what we're hearing about his behavior, not only with the victim, but the children, there is absolutely a risk of reoffense here.
Dado que el acusado ha sido violento durante mucho tiempo, por lo que escuchamos sobre su comportamiento, no solo con la víctima, sino también con los niños, existe absolutamente un riesgo de que vuelva a cometer el mismo delito.
For that reason, the state is recommending a $4,000 total surety bond.
Por esa razón, el Estado, la Fiscalía, perdón, recomienda que se otorgue una fianza bajo garantía con un total de $4,000.
With $1,000 on each of the simple battery family violences and $1,000 on each of the simple batteries.
Con $1,000 para cada cargo de golpes y lesiones simples, violencia familiar, y $1,000 en cada uno de los delitos de agresión simple.
We are asking that he complete the Family Violence Intervention Program.
Pedimos que complete el programa de intervención o alternativo de violencia familiar.
Undergo an alcohol and drug evaluation and follow any recommended treatment.
Que se someta a una evaluación de drogas y alcohol y siga cualquier tratamiento que se le recomiende.
Have no further contact with Marlene Castanon or Johaida Perez, and stay away from 1361 Northampton Road in Alpharetta.
No debe que no tenga más contacto con Marlene Castanon y Joaida Pérez y mantenerse distanciado perimetralmente del 1361 Northampton Road en Alpharetta.
And have no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. We would sound for Miss Castanon and Mr. Perez at this time.
que quede prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas, y queremos llamar a la señora Castanon y el señor Pérez en este momento. Por favor, si están en la plataforma, prendan su cámara y micrófono para poder atenderlos. Señora Castanon, señor Pérez.
Estoy sola.
I'm by myself.
Miss Chancey, if you'll ask her to raise her right hand so that I can swear her in.
Por favor, señora, puede levantar su mano derecha. Muchas gracias.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
¿Jura o afirma que el testimonio que dará ante este tribunal será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad?
Sí.
I do.
You can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Puede bajar su mano. ¿Qué quisiera contarme a mí?
Pues quería rectificar lo que dijo de la niña de la cadena, que fue ella que le arrancó la cadena a él porque él la agarró de la muñeca y la empujó al sofá. Entonces ella en defensa le jaló la cadena al papá y lo empujó.
Un
No
momento,
fue.
un momento. Gracias. Well, I wanted to clarify what it was said about my daughter, about him breaking my daughter's necklace. It was her who broke his necklace because he grabbed her by the wrist and pushed her on the sofa. Then she, in order to defend herself, broke her dad's necklace and pushed him.
Anything further, ma'am?
¿Algo más, señora?
Sí, fue la niña de 14 años, no fue la de 13 años, fue la de 14 años.
Yes, that it was my 14-year-old daughter, not the 13-year-old daughter.
Y que solo eran las dos niñas grandes que presenciaron el acto y las otras 3 niñas estaban durmiendo.
And only two of my daughters, the oldest ones, were present in the middle of the act. The other 3 were sleeping.
Could I ask very briefly, was the 2-year-old there?
Señora, ¿estaba presente la de 2 años?
No, solo estaba presente la de 14 y la de 13.
No, only the 14 and 13-year-old were present.
Okay, thank you.
Gracias.
Anything further, ma'am?
¿Hay algo más, señora, que quiera contarle al juez?
Sí, en la mañana cuando recibí la llamada, entonces me dijo la persona que me llamó que qué era lo que yo sugería o lo que yo quería que pasara con mi esposo. Entonces yo le dije que lo que yo quería era que él se alejara de nosotros y que nos pasara los gastos y que ya no quería más problemas, más violencia. Entonces ella me dijo que yo quería el divorcio. Entonces le dije yo que si eso era mejor, que estaba bien, pero no, yo escuché que usted dijo que yo estaba en proceso o un plan de divorcio, no. Entonces eso quiero corregir también que yo le dije en la mañana que yo lo que quería era vivir tranquila con las niñas porque yo soy la que estoy 24 horas con ella.
Okay, one moment, please. One moment. Un momento, señora. Yes, in the morning when I received the call and spoke with the person who called me and wanted to know what happened with my husband, so I told her, and she asked what I wanted to happen. So I said that I wanted for him to stay away from us, and I wanted for him to stay away. I'm sorry. And I didn't want to have any more problems. Then she told me that I wanted a divorce. And I told her that yes, if it was the best thing to do, it was fine. But then I heard that you said I was in the process of a divorce, or I was going to apply, ask for the divorce. And no, I want to correct that, because in the morning, what I said is that I wanted to live peacefully with the girls, because I am the only one who is 24 hours with them. ¿Algo más, señora?
Sí, y como le comentaba de esto pasó así, como les dije en la mañana, hoy declaramos ese día y ese día yo me salí para afuera porque como él me empujó y me golpeó en el pecho, entonces yo me puse a temblar, ya no pude hacer nada y donde yo vi que él tenía forcejada a la niña, y yo no pude hacer nada, entonces lo que yo dije que fuera a mi otra hija a llamar a su tío, que él viniera, pues porque como él vive al lado, pero con él no tenemos problema ni nada, entonces para que él presenciara también esto que estaba pasando, entonces como yo automáticamente entré como en una shock de así de nervios, ya no pude hacer más cosas, entonces le dije a mi niña, ve a llamar a tu tío que venga a ver a tu hermana, le dije, entonces por eso es que él vino aquí a llamarle la atención pues a él.
Un momento, señora. Gracias. As I told you before, we had spoken in the morning about this, and we stated that I went outside because he pushed me and hit me in the chest. Then I started to shake. He couldn't do anything more. Then that was when I saw that he was grabbing my daughter forcefully, and I couldn't do anything. So what I told my daughter, it was to call her uncle, and so he could come. He lives next door, uh, and I have no problems with him or anything or whatsoever. So he also witnessed what was happening. When he arrived, he I was in shock almost from nervousness. I But he can't do anything. So I told my girl to call and to call the uncle, and that's why he came, and probably to call his attention, well, to do something about it. ¿Algo más?
Thank you, Miss
No,
Chancy. I've gotten the gist. Tell her I appreciate
Okay.
her being here.
sí,
Muchas gracias, señora. El juez le dice que le agradece que esté aquí.
gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, can I go on mute for just a minute to ask him if he needs the last couple of minutes? Because there was an argument back here that was so loud, we didn't hear 2 minutes worth. So let me ask him if he really needs that part or if I can go forward.
Okay.
Señor, debido a que había como una pelea aquí atrás, estaba hablaban en voz tan alta que no pude escuchar los últimos 2 minutos. Entonces, permítame preguntarle si él necesita alguna repetición.
Okay. Let's mute the. It's gotta be like 4. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor. We're ready to go forward. If I might, 1361 Northampton Road is where they have both lived. He has a brother whose first name is Menor. I've got the spelling of it. I've got some leads on work phone numbers. A lot of people don't expect to get arrested, so they don't go around with emergency numbers that they've memorized. So I think we can get hold of his brother. He plans to live with his brother in case the court tells him to stay away from Hampton.
Okay, one moment, please, sir. Sí, tengo el 1361 de Northampton Road, es donde ambos han vivido y él tiene un hermano que tiene el primer nombre que es Minor. Tengo sé cómo escribirlo y también tengo mucha gente nunca guarda o memoriza un teléfono porque nunca espera ser arrestado. Creo que puedo yo contactarme con el hermano, con quien mi cliente planea quedarse, si es que eso se decide.
Your Honor, he is a plumber.
Él es plomero
No felony convictions according to the PSA.
y de acuerdo a la información pública, él no tiene antecedentes penales.
No FTAs according to the PSA.
No tiene ninguna falta de comparecencia ante ningún tribunal
And no convictions on anything violent, misdemeanor, or felony.
y ninguna condena por ningún delito menor o grave o violento.
We believe he can go live with his brother.
Creemos que él puede vivir con su hermano.
It's appropriate. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond here.
Si es apropiado, le quisiéramos solicitar a su señoría que considere la fianza más baja posible aquí.
We would ask the court to consider a signature bond with appropriate conditions.
También pedimos una fianza bajo firma con las condiciones apropiadas.
Or if not, then a $1,000 surety bond.
Y si no, una fianza bajo garantía de no más de $1,000.
Thank you.
Gracias.
If nothing further, for each of the simple batteries will be a $2,000 signature bond. Simple battery family violence will be a 2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For each of the simple batteries will be a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $6,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Si no hay más nada que decir, por cada una de los cargos por agresiones, golpes y lesiones simples, se aplicará una fianza bajo firma de $2,000. Por el otro cargo de violencia familiar con golpes y lesiones serán $2,000 de fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1. Y por cada uno de los cargos de golpes y lesiones serán $1,000 con una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio, el nivel 1, lo que lleva a un total de $6,000 fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio en el nivel 1.
No further contact with the alleged victims. Stay away from the incident location.
No tener más contacto con las víctimas y mantenerse distanciado del lugar donde ocurrió el incidente.
Third party transfer of any minors for visitation.
Tendrá que usarse a una tercera persona para transportar a los menores para la visita.
A one-time police escort to retrieve any belongings.
Puede ir al lugar de la residencia solo una vez escoltado por un oficial de policía para retirar sus pertenencias personales.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Se prohíbe el uso de drogas, armas y alcohol mientras esté bajo fianza.
Good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Next is position number 14, Ms. Joseph.
Okay, give me just one moment. Madam Chance, I believe that concludes your business with the court this afternoon.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. And
Okay.
next time you'll be able to see me.
All right, have a good rest of your day. Thank
Have a
you.
good evening, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so you say that this is position 14, Miss Sharon Joseph, is that correct?
Yes.
Good afternoon again, Miss Joseph. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003479J with battery family violence and 2 counts of simple battery family violence. It's my understanding that this is Miss Joseph's first arrest. Miss Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 20th, officers arrived to a dispute call at 705 Gar Circle. They made contact there with the defendant, Miss Joseph, who informed officers that she wanted her daughter, Miss Neville Marie, removed from the residence. She explained that she couldn't manage Miss Marie's behavior and had previously been advised that once her daughter became of legal age, she could have her removed from the home. When officers advised her that she would need to pursue this matter of removing her daughter from her house as a civil matter through eviction and a TPO, she became irate and claimed that Miss Marie had been physical with her, but she was unable to provide a specific action to officers. She further informed officers that her daughter had been reporting her during a verbal dispute, and she walked over and snatched the phone from her, telling her she could not record her. Officers informed the defendant that forcibly taking the phone was considered a physical act, and she then changed her statement and claimed that she walked away when she noticed that Miss Marie was recording her. When officers spoke to Miss Marie, she informed them that the situation stemmed from her being asked to accompany her mother to a wellness center, and she declined because she had plans. That upset her mother, and her mother advanced towards her, so she began recording due to past experiences of physical violence. When officers reviewed the video that Miss Murray had in her possession, it began with the defendant stating that Miss Murray could not record her and that she would call law enforcement. She's then on the video seen walking towards Miss Murray, and a struggle appears to ensue. And then it sounds like the phone dropping and the video ends. Miss Murray also told officers that her mother became physical with her after the video ended. On the scene, officers did observe visible injuries on Ms. Murray, including a scratch on her earlobe, a scratch on the inner part of her ear, and 2 scratches above the upper left side of her mouth. Your Honor, in light of the defendant's limited criminal history here, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond. We're asking for no further violent contact with her daughter, completion of an FVIP course, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and we'll sound for Miss Marie in the event that she's joined us in court today. That'll be all for this.
If Miss Marie is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Miss Tucker?
Miss Joseph is 63 years of age. She's lived in the Atlanta area since 2011. She's currently employed at Piedmont Hospital full-time. She has an associate's in clinical research. She does have 2 children. One is still a minor, as well as the 18-year-old. She has been the primary caregiver for both, as well as she's the full-time primary caregiver for her 93-year-old mother. Ms. Joseph, as stated by the state, is the one who contacted the police to have her daughter removed from the home. She said that she was attempting to defuse the situation after having to defend herself. Due to her lack of criminal history, at the age of 63, we are requesting a signature bond for her, as it is appropriate in this situation. As far as the incident location, it is her residence. She is the head of household and she owns the home. And we are asking for no violent contact between her and her daughter.
Okay. For each charge will be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Ms. Marie. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Joseph. Who do we have next?
Next is position 11, Mr. Jackson.
And let's see, who's representing Mr. Jackson?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, I believe that his mother has chatted me that there might be some MH issues. So I want to go off the YouTube if that's the case.
Judge, did you want to go off the, you want to go off the YouTube? I'm just asking because there's other people in here besides court staff. So that's what you want me to do, is stop the YouTube?
Okay, let's see. Is the mother on the line?
I'm here, Your Honor. Yeah.
Yes, and you were the one, I'm gonna have you speak. So let's see if we can take Mr. Jackson at the end of the calendar so that the courtroom will be a little less empty, a little less full. So we'll come back to Mr. Jackson. Thank you.
You can go to position 12, Mr. James.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. James. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003473D with hit and run. Is there a history?
The last arrest was May 7th, 2020, out of Fulton County for a probation violation. They have 22 total arrest cycles, to 3 felony convictions outside the last 10-year period. There's a 2020 possession of marijuana with intent and possession of a firearm felony conviction. It appears that they're on probation for terroristic threats and acts. That case number is 20 SC 176710. And then possession of a firearm, that case number is 16 SC 146577. Nothing further to report.
Okay. Ms. Harrison.
Yes, Your Honor. On Friday, June 20th, officers responded to a motor vehicle accident at 954 Deal Avenue. When they arrived, they observed three vehicles involved in the accident: a red van, a white van, and a gray Honda Pilot. The owners of the red van and the white van, vehicles 2 and 3, advised officers that vehicle 1, which is the gray Honda Pilot that the defendant was alleged to be driving, had fled the scene of the incident. The driver of vehicle 2 advised that he knew the person that was driving the gray Honda Pilot from being in the neighborhood, and told officers that his name was Jabril. Vehicle number 2's driver advised officers that he was traveling eastbound on Deal Avenue, attempting to make a left turn into a driveway, and vehicle 1, which is the gray Honda Pilot, swerved around his vehicle, causing the vehicles to collide. And at that point, vehicle 1 spun out of control and struck another vehicle, which is vehicle 3, which was parked and unoccupied at the time of the incident on the side of the road. While officers were on scene during the investigation, the mother of driver 1, the defendant, arrived on the scene and confirmed that her son was driving the vehicle. She told officers that she had been in contact with him and identified him as Jabril James, and gave officers his date of birth. His mother was also able to get him to return to the scene of the accident. And once he returned, he confirmed to officers that he was the driver of the gray Honda Pilot. He did advise officers that he fled the scene because he was being chased by known assailants that were trying to harm him. Officers discovered on the scene that He had 2 active warrants out of East Point for aggravated assault with a gun and therefore placed him into custody. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, is $2,500 surety bond, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and that'll be all.
Yes, Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. James is a 32-year-old Atlanta native. He's currently enrolled in a GED program at Atlanta Area Tech. He's currently employed. He has three three positions. He's currently employed at a mechanic shop part-time. He works as a painter at McLaren Son, and he also works for Chase Abernathy doing real estate. He currently supports his 5-year-old daughter as well as his pregnant spouse who's 6 months pregnant. As it's been stated on the record, his last arrest was in 2020. And so prior to this car accident, he hasn't had an arrest in 5 years. And so we are requesting a signature bond on his behalf at this time.
Okay, will be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. James, I'm going to let you out, but if you don't show up for your next hearing date, they're going to put a warrant out for you. Good luck to you, sir.
Next is position 13, Mr. Johnson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003468B with battery, family violence, and simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was November the 9th, 2011, out of City of Atlanta for aggravated battery. They have 3 total arrest cycles, nothing further.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 22nd, officers were dispatched to a fight in progress at 615 Griffin Street Northwest involving 2 siblings. When they arrived, they spoke to Ms. Juanice Greer, the victim, who stated that she and her mother were having a conversation when her brother, the defendant, interfered into the conversation to add his input, which led to a verbal argument between her and her brother. Ms. Greer stated that the defendant then picked up a chair from the porch and struck her in the head, leaving a laceration on her head. The defendant did confirm that the argument turned physical and that he struck Ms. Greer with a chair. We did speak to the victim today. She stated that the information in the warrant is correct. She and the defendant do not live together, but the defendant does live in the home with their mother. She believes there's some mental health issues. This is the first incident they've had in about 15 years. But the victim did have to get 4 stitches in her head and went to the emergency room after the incident. We did also confirm that, Your Honor, and due to the nature of the incident and how serious the actual injuries were to Ms. Greer, we did send this case up to be transferred for a felony based on the medical report, and we're still awaiting a response. The state's recommendation, Your Honor, is a $4,000 surety bond. We're asking for no further violent contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol, and a social worker visit to complete a BHET, and also for the defendant to complete FVIP. And we will sound from Ms. Greer at this time in the event that she wants to address the court, and that'll be all from the state.
Ms. Greer, and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in.
I'm trying to unmute it.
Okay, you're unmuted, Ms. Greer. There you
Okay.
go. All right,
Can
you
you
raise
see
your
me?
right? I can see you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
Okay. So I that's my brother, but he more like my son. I don't know if he like I said, he probably having some kind of problem because he having a problem with finding jobs. He got an autistic son that he see about. That's why I don't want him to be there. But what I do want him to know is when you have somebody in your corner that look out for you and help take care of you and your child, you have to respect them. And everybody agree to disagree. Everybody don't agree on the same thing. So nothing should make you that upset to charge after somebody who you know have had your back your whole entire life. So I just really wish that you guys could get him a signature bond and get him some help. Maybe he needs some help. But his artistic son is here with my mom, and he do need his father because that's a lot for a 7-year-old to do without his dad. But Your Honor, I'm asking you to I will limit my visits because he lived there with my mom. So I will limit my visits and let her come visit me. But I just want him to know that he cannot do that to somebody who truly love him and always helping him. And I just want to thank you. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, so Ms. Greer, you don't live at the Griffin Street address?
No, I don't live there.
Okay, so if I order that he can't have any further contact with you, you're gonna have to make it so that you don't run into him at that address, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Tucker.
Mr. Johnson is a 33-year-old Atlanta native with an 11th grade education. As far as employment, he actually starting a new job this upcoming Saturday at the Marriott Marquis as a houseman. As it's been stated, he does help support his children. He has 2 kids, a 13-year-old and a 6-year-old. The incident location is his mother's residence, who he does reside with. He does pay bills at that location. And Ms. Simpson, I'm sorry, Ms. Greer, the alleged victim, does not reside there, so we are requesting that he be allowed to return to the incident location once he makes bond. We are also requesting that he be allowed to have contact with Ms. Greer, as they are relative siblings. We're asking for no violent contact. And due to his very limited criminal history, only 3 cycles at the age of 33, his last arrest being over 14 years ago, and having no failure to appears, we're requesting a signature bond on his behalf.
For the battery, $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For the simple battery, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 3 days of anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Greer, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. Next is position 7, Mr. Foster.
Good afternoon, Mr. Foster. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003470Y with terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history?
The last arrest was December 25th, 2021, out of Fulton County for battery. There's 9 total arrest cycles. 2018 misdemeanor conviction for criminal trespass. 2023 battery, family violence. There's a felony conviction in 2009 for a CWAC charge, and they got first offender, and it was sealed in 2017. Nothing further.
Battery, family violence in 23. Is there a disposition?
It's a misdemeanor conviction. Bear with me and I can tell you what the sentence was.
Okay, I just need to know it's a conviction. Thank you, Ms. Hardy.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. Fall.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, this happened June 22nd of 2025 at 3200 Stone Road in Atlanta. The defendant was having an argument and became angry, punched a hole in the wall. The defendant then stated to the victim in this case that he had a gun and would shoot her. The victim in this case is, Your Honor will just give me a moment, my apologies. This was recorded by their child who was present at the time of the incident. The officer listened to the recording and then was able to collect the bag that contained a handgun and 6 live bullets. The victim in this case is Miss Shamisha King. Miss King also happens to be the victim in the 22 SC 185368 case, for which the defendant was convicted in 2022 of battery. He was also charged with family violence battery, which he was convicted of as well, and cruelty to child in the 1st degree and the 3rd degree. Those counts were null prost. And that obviously involved children being present. The allegation stated that he struck her in the face with his hand, causing bruising and swelling to her lip on that incident. There's also a 2020 simple battery under a bench warrant status. That is 20 CR 001853G. That involves a different victim, Miss Terry Deloach, where he is also alleged to have hit her in the lip. Given the fact, Your Honor, that this case involves allegations, well, not just allegations, but officers recovered a firearm that was in the black bag as was described by the victim, including the audio taped statement of the defendant stating that he should shoot her. The state has very serious concerns for the safety of this victim and the safety of all parties involved. We are asking for a $10,000 surety bond. We're further asking for no further contact with Miss Shamisha King and stay away from her address at 3200 Stone Road in Atlanta, Georgia. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We're furthermore asking for an FVIP. I know that Your Honor usually does not grant those, but given the fact that he has just pled in the last 2 years to a family violence battery involving the same victim and is now alleged threatening to shoot her, I believe that this is a very serious offense which would require something like something more intensive than anger awareness. We at this time would like to sound for Shamisha King, and that's all for the state. Oh, actually, Your Honor, one more thing. I just want to point out to Your Honor that this was recorded by their child who was present. The audio recording of him stating to the mother of his child, "I have a gun and I will shoot you." So children were involved in this incident and were present for this incident like they were present for the one in the 22 SC case. That's all.
Okay, and I take it that the 2023 conviction for battery family violence, he's no longer on probation for that?
He does not appear to be, Your Honor. He was given, I can actually tell you his sentence on that case. It appears on that case, he was sentenced to, I believe it was a 12-month sentence, but I just want to double check and make 100% sure. So I don't believe either way, he is not still on probation or any kind of remaining time on that case. But he pled guilty on 9/7/23 and was given 12 months to serve, but then it was suspended.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Ms. King, Ms. Shamisha King, if you are on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. I see you there, Ms. King. If you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
First off, I don't have any kids by him. That was my niece who did the recording. Also, Mr. Foster lives over here where I live, and so does his family. So I don't know how that will go. I believe that he is going to retaliate once he get home. He did tell me that he's going to get on Facebook and say some derogatory things about my daughter or my kids, period. He also continues to post like our social security numbers and stuff on there. I would just like for no contact further, him to leave me and my kids alone and to stay away from me.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. King.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chataya?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Foster requests the lowest bond amount that's reasonable. He's 36 years old. He's a lifelong resident of the Atlanta area. His whole family lives here. He tells me that he's a high school graduate and that currently he works in the food service industry. He makes juices and other beverages, I believe. He told me that he just started last week and that the longer he stays in jail, the more that he risks losing his current job. And because of that, Your Honor, he also tells me that he has a lot of expenses to pay outside of jail. And he was supposed to be at work today as well, but can't be there, of course. In terms of so for those reasons, Your Honor, he asked for the lowest surety amount possible. In terms of the stay away, Your Honor, my client informed me that 3200 Stone Road Southwest is an apartment complex. So it's a bunch of buildings grouped into one. My understanding is that he lives in apartment CS16 and Miss King lives in apartment P15. That's what my client told me. So if there is a stay away, I wouldn't object to staying away from Miss King's apartment number, but I would object to staying away from the entire apartment complex.
Miss King, are you still with me?
Yes,
So do you all live in the same apartment complex to your knowledge?
we do, but he was staying in my apartment. He wasn't staying in his.
Okay, so is his apartment, is it a different building or is it the same building as yours?
It's in a different building, but he also frequently goes over his grandmother's house, who's right across the street from me.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
And
Anything,
also, is it some way that he can pay for the damages that he caused inside my apartment?
this is only a bond hearing today, Ms. King. If you'll keep in touch with the solicitor's office, they will keep you informed as you go forward, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. It will be a $5,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. King. Stay away from her residential address. Family violence intervention program, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Foster, when I tell you that you're gonna have to stay away from Ms. King and have no contact with her, no contact means no contact whatsoever. No phone contact, obviously no personal contact, no internet contact, no emails, no contact through third people. If I find out that you're contacting Ms. King in any way or trying to intimidate her, then this bond is going to be revoked. Good luck to you, sir.
Next, position 17.
Oops. Right.
Yeah. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Lopes. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003485C with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history?
The last arrest was September 16th, 2023 out of Fulton for criminal trespass. That case appears to be open under 23 CR 006049C. There's 6 total arrest cycles, arrests out of Georgia and Connecticut. A felony conviction in 2023 out of Connecticut for carrying a pistol without a permit. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. On June 22nd, officers responded to a fight in progress at 1185 Collier Road at the Georgian Hills Apartments. They responded to the call outside of Unit 1336. They identified the caller, Ms. Deja Clark. She was standing outside of Unit 2205. Ms. Clark informed the officers that she received a text message on her phone from Mr. Lopes, the defendant, who is her on-again, off-again boyfriend of 4 years. He asked her why she was liking someone's picture on Instagram. When he arrived to the apartment, he told her to grab her stuff. he told her to grab her stuff and that she's leaving. She told him that she didn't want to leave, she wasn't leaving. And he started grabbing and throwing her clothes and belongings. So she started to grab her stuff out of his hand, and she had a firearm in the residence. She grabbed her firearm off the bathroom sink counter, was walking to the bedroom to continue gathering her things. At this point, the defendant pushed her and hit her in the face with a closed fist when she entered the bedroom. She began bleeding. They started arguing and she walked out. He told her that if she didn't call the police, he'd give her her property and her money. But she walked back into the apartment. He noticed that she had called the police and he told her he wasn't giving her money back. He then locked her out of the apartment and she stayed outside and waited for the police. When police arrived on the scene, they observed that she had cuts to her lower and upper lip. They asked her where the defendant was now, and she advised that he walked off from the apartment. But she was able to show officers his location on her iPhone. Officers were able to locate him shortly up the way as he was walking with his 4-year-old child, and they were able to speak to him and place him under arrest. The victim, we did speak to her today, Ms. Clark. She stated that the information in the warrant is correct. She does need to get her 3 dogs from his apartment, but he has both keys, so she has no way to enter the apartment. She needs to get her 3 dogs and her items from his apartment and items from the trunk of his car. She stated that this is not the first time the defendant has been physical with her, and he has been arrested before, but he keeps getting out, and she does not believe he should get out this time. Your Honor, we would like to note for the court that the prior open case, the 23CR006049C, is a criminal trespass case against the defendant. It is a case against the same victim, Ms. Clark, and in that previous case, he actually kicked her door down at her residence. In light of the tumultuous history between the two of these people, and in respect for the victim's wishes, the state's recommendation here is a $2,000 surety bond. We're asking for no contact with the victim, a stay away from her residence, and she would also need a one-time police escort to his residence to retrieve her items. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and we will sound for Ms. Clark at this time. And that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Saracen, the open criminal trespass, give me the bond conditions and who issued the bond.
Yes, just one second. Let me make sure I'm on the right screen. Okay, Your Honor, the bond. Okay, I have a $1,500. Some math, give me a second. 15, 250, 350. Looks like a $2,800 good bond was issued. Just one second. It's the forfeiture.
Your Honor, the reason there's some difficulty here is we're not seeing a original bond order. What we're seeing is the bond order being forfeited and then the bond forfeiture being set aside in September of 2024.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not actually seeing the original bond.
Yeah, I just see that it was in front of Judge Myra Dixon, so we are only able to access the forfeiture.
Thank you all. I appreciate it. Yes, Ms. Tucker. And I'm sorry, what the alleged victim, Ms. Harrison, the name again, please?
Deja Clark.
If Ms. Clark is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Yes, Ms. Clark, if you can raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I just know the situation with the door being broken down. I'm just scared that he's not going to show up to court for this situation also. And I mean, I uploaded the evidence of the images of the injuries and also recordings of him charging at me, hitting me, telling me that he's going to punch me, and just things of that sort. I just want to make sure that he's going to show up to his bond, or can he stay in there?
Okay, he will be issued a bond, Ms. Clark. So this is just a bond hearing today. If you'll keep in touch with the solicitor's office, they will let you know of further proceedings as we go forward, okay?
And Your
All
Honor, I
right.
just want to make the court aware, his original bond was a $1,500 surety bond given by the magistrate court.
Okay,
And he
thank you.
did.
All right. Yes, Ms. Tucker.
What are you going to get bond? Regardless.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lopes is a 25-year-old. He's been living in the Atlanta area for 3 years now, and he also has a family in the area. His education, he's completed high school. As far as employment, he's currently in training at the Atlanta airport for a position. The incident location, it did take place at his apartment. Ms. Clark does not reside in the unit with him. She has her own residence in Sandy Springs at 8090 Adair Lane, according to Mr. Lopes. So his name is the only one on the lease, and he's been residing there for a few months now. He does have one minor child, a 4-year-old son, who was present during the incident. As it was stated, he does have a limited criminal history. His latest arrest was 2 years ago, and we are requesting a signature bond on his behalf in this matter.
Will be a $2,000 good bond. For the simple battery, $1,000 good bond makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Clark. Stay away from her residential address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Next is position 28, Mr. White.
Good afternoon, Mr. White. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003481B with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history?
The last arrest was January 24th, 2024 out of Milton for theft by shoplifting. 2 total arrest cycles, nothing further to report.
Mr. Sirocco?
Yes, Judge. So this took place April 13th of this year at 13055 Highway 9 in Milton. In Fulton County, law enforcement was dispatched to the target at the location in reference to a shoplifting. The complainant was a loss prevention supervisor, Sarah Okasek. Saw a black male pushing a shopping cart past all points of sale and getting into a vehicle before leaving the area. That man, later identified as the defendant, was concealing various household and personal items in a shopping cart and making his way to the front door before passing, again, all points of sale. He was confronted and ended up leaving the area in the vehicle. That vehicle's tag, they got that, and the defendant was the one revealed as the person renting the vehicle. Photo lineup was conducted. He was identified and was later located and arrested, or was located and arrested at that point. States will consent to a signature bond through pretrial services. For this case, we're asking for an anti-theft course. Stay away from the target at 13055 Highway 9 in Milton. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol. And we would ask for those things because there was a theft by shoplifting from 2019 that was dismissed after completing pretrial intervention. So it's been given a shot at this and back at it. So that's all.
Mr. McLean?
No objection.
All right, will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, an anti-theft class, stay away from all targets, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. White.
All right.
Your Honor, if we may, if we could go back to position 17, I just wanted to ask if you could order an escort, police escort for the victim to retrieve her items from the defendant's residence.
She's gonna have to do that some other way. I can't.
Because it's the
can't
reverse.
convert it, right? So
Okay,
she
thank
can maybe possibly get a third party or something of that nature.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next is position 29, Mr. Williams.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Williams. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003476A with simple assault, family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was April 28th, 2024 out of Fulton County for criminal trespass. That was null pros. There's two total cycles in Georgia. There's an open case for terroristic threats and acts, and that case number is 25 SC 000571. Nothing further.
Mr. Sirocco?
Yes, Judge. I saw that this is 29. Was it courtroom 2 that requested a breakout room or an on-stream for this case?
Yes, at least for the portion where we get to what I say, because I'm going to bring up something.
Okay, so let's see. So those are the only two. There are only two left in the in courtroom 2. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, so
this part's okay, Your Honor, as far as
okay. That's fine. So just let me know, Mr. McLean. Thank you, Mr. Sirocco. You can go ahead.
We would be, I mean, we might be touching on some of the same stuff in terms of victim contact, so we may want to do it outright.
Okay.
All right. So if we can go off the YouTube. Ms. Strong, are you operating that today?
Yes, I'm sorry, I missed it. I apologize.
Okay. No, you're fine. We just need to go off the YouTube.
Oh, okay.